Well, hello everybody. Happy Tuesday. Here we are again. And I find it interesting that most of the Tuesdays my intention is to come on around 11, and the way it always works out, it always is right around 11:11 when we get started. So I sort of love that. I hope you're having a great week. We've got exciting stuff happening energetically, and we've got Easter coming up, the resurrection time here this weekend, and I feel like it's a very significant time here with that aligning and lots starting to unveil and reveal, and things are moving forward. So in sitting with what are we going to talk about this week, what's on everybody's heart, what are the dragons feeling, and I think what I've been feeling the most and what I really want to talk about this week is that it's really time. We need to be paying attention. We need to be disciplined. We need to be really, what I said in the description is decreeing what we want, where we're headed. Because we are actually, if you guys have been paying attention to my lives, gosh, well, anytime over the last year we've had so much shift happening, but things are starting to snowball. Things are really moving forward. And back around Christmas time, around the solstice, December 21st, I remember doing a talk about the bifurcation of timelines and how we are being sort of magnetically pulled and drawn into these two different directions. And that once you sort of are on that, it's not necessarily changeable that easily. And what's coming now is I'm starting to sense and pick up on, because there's a lot of work happening with the higher level dragons. I talked last week about the Andarans, the Arcturians showing up, which is showing like we're really heading into some higher frameworks, and they're becoming available to us. And other information coming out about the pickup in the solar energy, the solar flare, solar flash, the energy coming in from our greater central sun is creating the energetics to allow our body to begin shifting into its crystalline format, from a carbon base to a silica base. So with all of these things sort of coming together, one of the things you have to start realizing, and why those dragons are present, is they are trying to get the field around you to make it the most efficacy, or give it the most efficacy, or the most efficient way for you to move, or the greatest availability energetically for you to be able to move towards that crystalline structure, to be able to have your DNA start realigning itself into the full triple format. That then will spiral up into something different. And this is on a cellular level that it's happening. We are moving from carbon-based to silica-based within a cellular level. That's basically moving into crystalline form. And so this week I find it so interesting that timing-wise with my Dragon Hearts, things changed, the format changed this year, and there's been a lot of information that sort of changed which dragons are taught in which order. And so we happen to be on the Crystal Dragon this week, which I find perfectly timed, because it's all about the DNA, and it's all tied into what's coming up with the resurrection on Easter Sunday, and what's happening energetically now with the other dragons showing up, the much higher frequency dragons in that lineage. So the Andarans and the Arcturians bringing basically an environment for us to claim and to move into. So one of the things that I heard someone say last week, really beautiful speaker named Lena, she was on Dr. Charlie Ward's talk in the Insiders Club, and she had a really great way of explaining some quantum consciousness pieces. And I loved that what she started talking about was giving me confirmation of pieces that I'd been getting and sort of seeing geometric patterns, and she laid it out, and I went, oh my God, that's exactly what I drew last week. But what she was sharing, and it really hit home for me, and the timing of this with the crystal dragons and the higher octaves showing up right now, is that it's time to claim. You need to move forward and decree the timeline that you're moving into. That it's really important to pay attention right now, and not just get into complacency, not get into laziness, not get into, oh, I've got time, I've got time, I've got time. That really, we are moving out of a time structure, and you felt that warping and bending and shifting itself. The whole structure of time has been shifting and collapsing in the last year. And as you start to notice that, it's hard to talk about that without the words that we use, but to say time is of the essence, or the time is now, is essentially to really bring focus to, it's time for some discipline. It's time for no longer putting off your journey, putting off your desires, putting off the work that needs to be done, or the time that you need to take and sit and be internal and draw forth your guides. Try to connect to them. That time is literally of the essence, because the bifurcation is starting. And this is where the two timelines that were discussed in December, I'm now starting to sense, and she actually referred to this as well, I'm starting to sense this, the literal bifurcation of the pathways, where they're going to start pulling apart, that this is the beginning of, you really got to know and declare, are you on the 3D timeline that's going to do another 26,000 year cycle, which then leads into bigger cycles, or are you going to be on the golden age timeline? Are you going to move into the quantum field? Are you definitely choosing and knowing 100% that you know you are going to 5D, you are going into the quantum field, you are going for the golden age timeline, and that you have to know that in your heart. It's not guesswork. It's not, I hope. It's not, oh, well, I've got time still. It's out in front of me. I'll keep working towards that. Everything in my sessions has been showing the guides are stepping forward, and even higher self-presence is stepping forward and saying, I'm front and center now. The guides are standing back, and your higher self is stepping forward and claiming and saying, we've got to get going. We've got some stuff here to do, and it's time for you to really focus. So I feel like this week, I wasn't even sure 100% what I felt drawn to talk about this week, but in reflecting and realizing how much the messaging through multiple facets, whether it was me listening to someone else and it was giving confirmations, or in session with people, or what's coming up for my classwork this week, they're all sort of bringing into the same message of the bifurcation is starting, that it's time to choose, it's time to very clearly state and know continuously, this is an every moment thing. This is a, I don't give up and fall and slide back. This is, I know that I'm going for quantum consciousness. I know that I'm moving into a higher realm. I know that I want the golden arrow timeline. And that even is an oxymoron, because the word timeline doesn't really apply in that. It's a timeline because it's out within an availability of a pathway of energy to follow. But as we move into that quantum conscious field, time is going to shift again as we know it. That there is, I was actually shown there's a transitionary or a time bridge of sorts been created that is allowing us to adjust the human framework that we've been so used to time constraints, we've been so used to working within clocks and hours and days and all that, that we need to restructure most of how we go through a day, because we're so locked into time and appointments and clocks and days and weeks and months and years and the whole structure of it, that there was finally a realization, and this is how my guides shared it, that the dragons and some other beings that are within some higher councils with structure, we're starting to recognize and see that pulling out of time, that the complete collapse of the time structure would be very challenging for the human framework to actually move through and go, like night to day of time and then no time. That there was a realization, so now a construct is being built, like a bridge to bring us out of that. So you may have been sensing and feeling that in the last couple of months, where you feel that warp, where you feel days stretch out and then hours collapse, and then whole parts of days, so like it can go by. I was off last week, it felt like a month. When I don't see my dragon hearts but once a month, the ongoing group, it feels like months and months has gone by, partly because yes, time is collapsing, and it's this, how much has happened in that space, in the same space of what we consider 4 weeks, how much has progressed and happened in that time of not just energetics, but what is unfolding in the 3D realm, and how quickly it's moving. It's moving quickly because there's so much happening energetically. Remember the mirrors. There's always the mirror of, if things are slowing down and stopped here, then look at the energy. What's going on there? Are you blocking it, or is it also in a little gentle rest phase, and then things pick up again? So we are in a picked up phase right now. The crystalline energies are very much coming in, so I would encourage you, if you are doing your own work, working through the book, doing stuff with different dragons, I would be working with the crystal dragons right now, especially this week. We've got it with the Dragon Heart program, so there's going to be an amped up field that's a closed sphere for our own work within that. But you're going to be feeling that template. There's going to be things as we work together, it shifts a group dynamic for the collective that then is more available and readily available to everyone. So it's going to be easier to call the crystal dragon. It's going to be more effective. I had a session yesterday that literally I felt the shifts within the cells of the body moving away from the central core that is already shifted to diamond, and I could feel movement energetically through my body, through the physical cells of my body. So this is what's super exciting, is we are finally in a time where it might feel unusual, your body might feel strange, you might be going through really weird symptoms, but it's like feeling an expansion in your body that's on a cellular level, and it's finally reached the physical. That's the exciting, is we've had massive experiences, and some of you have been in your own realm of experiencing that, where you can feel your energy body very much able to expand, go into that bliss field, the quantum field, connect with your guides maybe, that the energy body was always going to go through first. It's a higher vibration than the physical body, which is more dense. So the physical and the mental bodies are going last, but you've been feeling those shifts. You've been feeling the framework of your mental body trying to rewrite itself, probably of different perspective, of different ways of looking at things, of really opening and saying, whoa, I need to understand this in a different way. And now the physical body is finally starting to feel it. And that's what's super exciting to me. I'm getting more and more tangible sensation through the physical body of that crystalline shift, of the cells moving into silica-based, which for me is the crystal diamond template. And all the realizations with diamond DNA, and that what we're moving towards. Super exciting stuff right now, but the message from the guides, and you can tune into your own higher self and guides and feel this. Yeah, Rhiannon, definitely. There's a lot of people feeling it, and that's what's super exciting, is the more that feel it, the more that put it into the collective and can talk about it, which then allows others to open to it. And this is going to create the big wave, the massive, ooh, there's my full body tingle. The big wave is going to come because we all start feeling it, talking about it, sharing it, and feeling that impetus, feeling that, wow, it is now. It's time. It's not about waiting any longer. It's about really, really getting honed in on your own discipline. Are you taking time for yourself? Are you taking time to rest, hydrate, take care of your body? Are you taking time to cook good foods? Are you paying attention to what's going in? I know every time I'm moving into a higher frequency cycle, my body says, you got to go vegan. You got to get rid of the denser foods. You've got to make that plateau jump. And for all the jumps I've made in the last 15, 20 years, I've gone through cycles where I've been vegetarian for a couple of years and then not. Had kids, needed that denser protein, needed to do that, and then trying to phase into different. So pay attention to that. Your body may be shunning certain foods, and if you're finding your taste buds shifting, pay attention. Why? What is it wanting? Is it wanting something more dense to like ground it because the energy is so uncomfortable and you're not used to it? Or is it saying, we gotta go light, it's time. Just try this. Do a fast, do a cleanse, just be vegetarian. Even if you can't go full vegan, I know I struggle with it because I'm a mom and I'm trying to cook for boys who, they want chicken, they want burgers, and it's interesting for me to try and learn to provide food for all of us that satisfies everyone but also brings them where they need to be. So we all have our different challenges on that journey, but the piece that's coming in very much from every part of what I do during a week is about, it's now. You have to pay attention, especially this week. I don't think there's any accident that Easter falls on the 4/4 day this week, April 4th. That to me is significant. It's a 4/4. And for me, way back in my journey, I worked with a woman named Solara. She did the 11/11 activations all over the world. And she wrote about the family of An and the star seeds. And one of the things that I remember from the fourth gate of the 11 that she did was the inversion. that she actually had a mudra. It was a really beautiful mudra, and it was to cross. She had a whole series that would bring you into a state of energetic that was very powerful, and it was when I really became energy became tangible to me. But it's where your arms are crossed and they invert, and then the next phase, going into the fifth, which is going into the quantum field, into the fifth dimension, is opening the door, opening the portal. But we have to invert first. We have to invert, and that means everything within us is you're going to feel, you might feel at times like you're being pulled inside out, that your world is being pulled inside out, that the key actually to expansion is the implosion, that you have to really pay attention to. It's not going to be what you think or expected it to look like. The doorways are internal, and to get to the full expansion, it has to be inverted. And this is a physical inversion through the cells, which is why it's going to feel very, very strange. The portal is inside. The portal is in the internal space. So as we invert that, we can expand out from within. We have to implode in a way which is really sort of counterintuitive to what we've been working with all along. Of we're expanding, we feel our energy body get big, we feel ourselves get massive, we feel this. That's been the first step. That's been the, all right, expand out this way. Now you're being asked to allow the internal expansion through the spaces in between. You might not even know what that means. Just allow it to be in your field. Allow yourself to say, show me how to expand into the spaces in between. Show me what that means. Allow me to do that. And the crystal dragon will help with that. The crystal dragon is, all that lineage is a master with it. So starting with the water dragon, the crystal, the silver, this is where it's going to go. And this is why it's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel weird. It's going to feel like unknown territory. We are entering new territory. Do you realize that this is the experiment? Yes, you've been a being in a fifth dimensional field before, in a quantum field, and even higher. Many of you are dragons that come from a 22nd dimensional realm, and you've come in service and you've densified down. But the kicker, the new bit, the new part of the experiment is that there has not been in a quantum field, in a fifth dimensional framework, a level of being that carried and moved up from matter, up from an elemental form, to maintain an aspect of that elemental form in a fifth dimensional body. This is all new. We're doing this because this is what the goal was. Can we actually exist in a body and move it into a fifth dimensional framework and hold that level of love while still in a physical body in some level? And I don't know what that's going to look like, how much light will refract through, because what happens as your cells turn crystalline, as the core of it turns crystalline, your DNA turns crystalline, you're going to start refracting a whole bunch more light. And I feel like that's when we looked upon Christ, when he rose and came out of the cave and resurrected and walked amongst his family and his people, that they could see him, but it was like a light body, like they could put their hand through him because it was pure light, because he had actually left the physical body behind. So what happens when you take the physical body with you and bring that much light through? This is the new course. This is where we're headed. So it's time to choose. It's time to really decree and know in every moment, I decree with all of myself that I'm moving into the quantum field, that I am moving into the golden era, that I'm letting go of the third dimensional densified reality that I no longer am a slave to, no longer attached to, no longer anchored to, and I allow myself to move into that. And you need to decree it continuously. This is your heart saying and claiming what is your, eventually the full divinity, that it's about moving through these dimensional layers to get finally incorporated fully with that. And discipline is part of that. Your desire, your decree, your discipline, you're headed on your path, and there's a reason that you're doing it and why we have to have these pieces. So, not wanting to preach today. I hope that doesn't sound like preaching, but an encouragement to really get serious about your path, get serious about who you're working with. And I appreciate all the comments that were in, and I know that I am feeling that big push for a cleanse. I'm feeling a lot of shift, and that when I'm inspired to speak about it, I know there's others that either need to have that incentive or know that there's somebody doing it with them simultaneously. They're not alone, and we've got this. That put your questions in. You're struggling, you need a support group to do a cleanse. Send a note into the group. for the love of dragons, that's our experiences with the dragons isn't just, yes, it's about bringing the dragons in, but to experience the dragons on a higher framework, you might need to lighten your body. And it's very interesting to say that because months ago, there was a very clear message of you need to listen. Your body might need things for certain frameworks, but where we're at right now, I am feeling, you may not be, I am feeling drawn to lighten the body through the foods and the things that I'm putting in it. I was even shown yesterday, one of the pieces that came through was to really pay attention even to not just what you're putting in, what you're drinking, what you're putting on your skin. The biggest organ of your body, it absorbs so much. What are you putting on your skin that is absorbing in and also densifying? So all these things, it's time to really be paying attention. And I think in the biggest piece of it is to really be making your decree and claiming and knowing in your heart which direction you're going. And at this point, it's about letting go of those that you're realizing aren't going to be going. And it's not a judgment. It's not a, there is family sadness. I know my birth family is in a different place, and they're probably cycling around for another series of lessons in this school that is Earth. And that's totally okay. And it doesn't mean I can't interact with them from a level. I might even become guides. Like, what happens from fifth dimension and above? Who do you think your guides are that are assigned to you at birth here in 3D body? They are beings who are in a higher fifth dimensional or higher octave field who want to be in service. And they can go down, higher level beings can come down into lower density, but the other is not possible. So this is why we've had guides around us that are operating in the closest realm without coming into physical, where they come in a fifth dimensional level there to communicate with us. They get as close as they can. That may be your service moving forward. You may be in a place to be able to come and be of service to those that are moving forward, to have more karmic cycle lessons, to have more experience in a body, and you might be able to help them through that. You might be helping to get to their ascension timeline, to their place where their soul is ready to move into something different. For me, I'm ready for it this time around. I've been waiting eons and eons for this completion cycle, and I'm super excited. And so using those tools, I know I mentioned last week all the beautiful Andaras, they are going quick. I felt called to pull the amber one today. You can see this gorgeous, really nice big stone is carrying a lot of beautiful energy with that amber. So what's the amber? It's in the fire line. It's up several octaves up in the fire line. So if you look in your books at that lineage, you know that that's the power line with the fire dragon, the black dragon, moving up through the gold dragon. We've got that fire line, and that's that amber. It pulls that higher framework power. And what is higher power? It's moving into divine power. It's moving into a ability to have right perspective and right heart within power. So any of the tools, we've got the crystal dragon here, they're available through the website. All of the things are in the lair. So dragonwithin.com/lair is where you find all these beautiful goodies that have special transmissions in them for you. And as I let people know, try to every week, I have discovery sessions, 20 minutes of free time with me to see, what's the next step on your path? What are you trying to move into with the dragons? I offer those. They're through the same site, dragonwithin.com. You'll find a book now button on the home page, and that takes you to the calendar. It does only book 3 weeks out, and I'm often 3 to 4 weeks out in my bookings. So just keep checking back in a couple days. You'll see things open up, whether it's a 20-minute dragon reading, a full session. There's so many tools, and there's lots that are not a huge investment. For $11, you can get guided meditation on the site and work directly with the crystal dragon or the white and crystal dragons together. That's a powerful one for right now. All right, so wishing you guys a fabulous week. I think some exciting stuff is going to happen on multiple levels, both physically, in the realm of the world game, and spiritually, energetically for all of us. Feels like this is a game changer week, and so be aware of that. Be aware of the energy. Work with it. Hold it within yourself and call it to you. Anyway, looking forward to hearing the stories of things that happen through the post next week. Enjoy it, everybody. We'll see you on the other side of Easter. Bye for now.